Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us is Russell Rhoads, Director of Research over at EQDerivatives. Russell, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and what a perfect time to talk about the Nasdaq Volatility Index, known as VOLQ, considering this Monday, October 4th, is truly playing out as you would expect an October trading day to do, and also fortuitous timing that you've just published a white paper on VOLQ. So give us an overview of that.
Sure. Just first off, today it's kind of interesting. VOLQ is up a lot more than the other volatility indexes. You would expect that with the Nasdaq under more pressure than some of the, or Nasdaq-100 under more pressure than a lot of the broad-based indexes out there. What's kind of interesting is VOLQ last week, when the Nasdaq-100 was holding up a little bit better than some of the other broad-based indexes, VOLQ was actually easing its way higher, which could have been an indication that we might have wanted to be concerned going into this week with respect to the Nasdaq-100. I don't think it was predicting the specific problems with Facebook, but it was giving us an early indication that October might be kind of a rocky month for technology stocks, the Nasdaq-100.
Right. And, you know, the index has outperformed for quite some time, and it's not surprising to see some of this rotation as we look in other areas of the market that have not outperformed as much as tech. So let's talk about this white paper a little bit. How would you use VOLQ to determine these kinds of moves? Of course, it's not a crystal ball, but it does give you some insight into volatility on the horizon.
Well, one of the great things about volatility indexes, or just implied volatility, is it is driven by supply and demand of options. And it really is a look into the mind of the market. And that really is what the kind of the core of the white paper that we put out a couple of weeks ago, talking about how you can use VOLQ to give you an idea what might be the best strikes to pick based on a bullish or a bearish outlook, widening them out when VOLQ is at a higher level, or maybe going a little bit narrower when VOLQ is at lower levels, looking at it relative to what's going on in the related Nasdaq-100 index, which is kind of what I was referring to just a minute ago, where sometimes VOLQ may give you an early indication because there's increased demand for Nasdaq-100 index options that the professionals might be a little bit more concerned about the Nasdaq-100 than the other indexes. And that's what we're actually seeing play out this morning.
Right. And Russell, it's interesting. You can't trade options on VOLQ. You can't trade VOLQ directly. As a retail investor, I have a number of Nasdaq-100 stocks in my portfolio. Can you use, let's say, options on the QQQ or perhaps index options if you want to look for a hedge for today, for a day like today?
Oh, absolutely. And again, VOLQ, it's based on Nasdaq-100 or NDX option prices, but I think you can utilize it trading XND, the smaller index option version of the Nasdaq-100, and also QQQ. I've put out systematic pieces about ways to go about using VOLQ for NDX, and I know from feedback that I've gotten through you guys that there are people that apply that to the XND and the triple Qs as well.
All right, Russell, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.